First of all, I want to say how honored and humbled I am in the circle to be here today. To grace this stage with so many great individuals who have so much that they can give and so much to say, so much experience. I've been involved in a lot of things on campus. And the years that I got involved gave me something. Being involved through those years, I decided to commit myself to the growth of others. And I realized I had an ability, a gift to give. I didn't know I possessed it before. But what it meant for me changed my direction. So today, I want to give you something. The act of giving is the transferring of a possession from something to someone. So I want to give you something as someone. But before I can do that, I got to share a story. I love stories. Storytelling is a big fabric of who we are, and for me, who I am. And this is a story that I share with where we are today. So in 1999, the lights went out in this building. This year, the lights turned on again as the Mattamy Athletic Centre. Coincidentally enough, in 1999, I also immigrated to Canada. And truth be told, I had no historical significance and connection at that point. In fact, I made up my own history. And at that point, I probably said Scarborough was the capital of Toronto. That was my history. But there was one thing that we did share. That when one chapter had closed, the next one was about to be opened. 13 years later, I'm scratching my head because I'm trying to figure out how I got here. So I had to do a lot of reflection. And then I realized what it was. It was those aha moments that we get sometimes. You know those aha moments where everything pauses? Just so that you realize and you know why you're doing what you're doing, and then everything speeds up again, and you forget it all. Aha. The best thing at that point that I could have done was take charge. So, in 2004, I'm going to date myself, I did enroll in Ryerson University. And I did share a similar fate once again with this building. We didn't know where we were going. At that time, Canada's largest retailer purchased the Maple Leaf Gardens. And the public was battling with how such a historical monument could be used simply for retail space. And I was battling with what my exit strategy was to graduate and get rich. That was a difference in not knowing. And a lot of us don't know where we're going sometimes. But something changed. We don't always take in that ability that we are going to lead sometimes. And that's what happened to me. Well, more likely, responsibility is something that you have to pick up. It doesn't just fall in your lap. And you find a calling. And that calling is something that you must act upon. And at that moment, destiny might have just taken a turn for the better and changed me from a go-getter to a go-giver. So in 2005, when I was barely involved, there was a movement that was growing on campus, and it was a hip-hop movement. It was a movement that focused on emceeing and DJing. And what was, at then, a short-term movement was something I took on to lead long-term. And in 2006, I founded what was known as the Hip Hop Union. When I have to look back and reflect to those aha moments, I can easily say that hip hop saved my life because it propelled me in a different direction from where I was before. And next thing you know, I was involved in a whole bunch of things, and it was a lot of giving, and it was a lot of meeting people, and we did it for the fun. Next thing you knew, I was being elected to positions by students so I could give back some more. So I got this fancy title as in the student council as the overseer for student life. Chris Drew standing in the audience, he was there too. He knows those wonderful years. And it was years of learning, that we learned so much. And in that, I had an opportunity to act on something where, with student leaders, athletes, and people of the community, we took charge to lead an athletic referendum. Which is why, and we did it all in a common goal, to create a space that we could call our own, our house. It's beautiful when you see change happen full circle, right? But it's also powerful when you know you're a part of that circle. Change is meant to move us in a direction, and very often that direction is challenging, it's debatable, but that step forward, that direction that we go in, it's a step. The best steps of action we can take is engaging a world that is disengaged with its complexities. Back when I founded the Hip Hop Union, I enrolled them for a dance competition. It was provincial-wide university. And we noticed we were playing at a disadvantage. We were known as the underdogs. While universities were performing with taking for granted studio space, we didn't really have that. We didn't really have that space that we could practice and perform to our full potential. And what I noticed was that we made the most out of our resources, and very often we'd see those teams competing at their potential while we would make the most out of what we got and learn routines in front of our own reflections in buildings across campus, and sometimes even on the concrete pavements. When I immigrated to Canada in '99, my family moved to the east end of Toronto, your typical capital neighborhoods, right, where they were under-resourced and prioritized. I was enrolled in a double cohort of educational changes that was sweeping through the province at that time. And what that did was basically change the game for young people. There were not enough resources for young people to be involved after hours, which meant what? They probably did something else that probably wasn't that positive because they found something else to do. But that shouldn't be an excuse. It shouldn't be an excuse that a lack of resources will allow the next generation to have a breeding ground for crime, violence, and youth gangs. We are a world that is engrossed in our destruction. You can hear the rhetoric: global warming, regional wars, crime of all nature. What are we doing to make this world, which is yours and mine, a better place for our future? What are we doing? Are we giving back? My moment for action, I realized where it came from. It came from working in communities that there were no resources, and my ability to know that I wanted to make some change. Just like when you know you're not getting something, you gotta give it. And you gotta give it your all, because who else will? When change happened full circle, I got elected to another fancy title, and I actually made a decision on giving back to my community with the acquisition of the gardens, which is now our house. And that was beautiful because I realized that all it took was a step of giving for me to take another step and give some more. And then what I did was give back for what I didn't have, and I didn't do for me. So the idea of what I'm trying to share is acting on those aha moments of change. Because change can be given. Taking responsibility for the life that we live is important. It helps us get out of bed in the morning. We may make a living out of what we get, but we make a life out of what we give. And our ability to give just gives back. This community, and actually more importantly, the people in it, allow you to grow, learn, act to your full potential, because they're giving you something. right? They're giving you something that you can't quite quantify. You can't say it's tangible. It's an experience. But that's the gift of giving. 7 years later, after my first involvement, I'm seeing students compete year after year and be involved with more resources than I ever had. 13 years later, since I immigrated to Canada, I know I have some type of connection in history in help bringing the lights back to this building. Now, what I did was transfer the possession of my story to you. But I want to give you something more, because you're someone. Someone that can help change this community together. And I want to give you this idea. And what this idea is that we all have moments to give. We have many moments to give. Moments that we can give to others, moments that we can give back to ourselves, moments that we can give it to our all. But giving back not for the sake of giving back, selflessly giving. And what that means is being able to see beyond yourself sometimes, to make sure that you can meet the change that is needed as a humanity, as individuals, as students who are learning and wanting to change the world. We need to stop spectating, and we need to start taking more of a role. So, the question asked is, you can say all this and give a lot, but how do you go from building this community through giving? And I would say it like this. The first thing you need to do is you need to define your stories, your experience. That's the individual giving. The ability to give back to yourself, reflect on who you are. Allow people to understand the reality of where you live, and make sure they know it, because it may not be a reality that they know, but it's a reality that we share together. Secondly, act on the change, on those unmet needs in the world, because that is our ability. It's giving back beyond. And lastly, I would say, find yourself environments just like this that help you flourish, that help you grow. Because these communities are communities that work together. These are our communities. These are communities that we shape. We need to stop spectating and start participating in our future. Because those moments we give, those moments we share, we learn, those moments we do so much more, will pretty much leave the foundation and legacy for our future. Thank you.